encourage you to email questions like you have in the past to mail@odrva.com. I am Pam Estes with Old Dominion Realty, and again I'm joined with Renee Whitmore from the Crossroads office.
Yes, good evening, Pam.
How is the real estate market for you, Renee?
It's just busy, Pam. You know, like always, we're in August, so we have lots of families who are getting geared up to get their kids into the school district and into the house that they need to be in, and it's been really busy. And I know one of the things that my buyers have been really excited about using is the mobile app that we talked about last month.
Yes.
And just being able to walk up in a neighborhood and click on the app and find out what is in the neighborhood for sale. So I know they've been really excited about that.
Yes, and if you want to review what Renee is speaking about with our mobile app, you can go to odrva.com, look for our webinar tab, click on that, just go to July and review what Renee is talking about with the mobile app that Jesse has developed for us.
Yeah.
Last month also we were joined by a true professional, Lauren Resnick. Lauren Resnick is our property manager. When I say a property manager, you own a townhome, an apartment complex, a commercial building, and you want someone to find your tenant or collect your rent or your past rent, that's what Renee does. So this evening we're going to switch to another true professional, which is Betty Reese with Old Dominion Realty, and she is our Community Association Manager. And Renee, I'll let you take it from there.
Yeah, Betty works out of the same office that I work out of. She works at the Crossroads Plaza location. That's about 1.5 miles or 2 miles east of Harrisonburg, right off of Route 33. I know I'm always excited about having Betty in my office. Not only does she have a real bubbly personality, but I get to see her work really, really hard all day long, managing several different property owners associations across our area and as well as out of the area. And Betty, I know some of the buzz I've heard this week in the office is that you guys have a brand new website coming up. Tell us a little bit about this website.
We do. We just launched this website. You can access the information for the POAs through this website. Also, some of our POAs have joined this website, and they can access the website that belongs to their particular POA.
Yeah.
And
tell us what the website is if they want to go and visit it.
Great. They can. We have Crossroads Farms, Wellington, and Preston Lake on board.
Okay.
They can go log in. They can see newsletters, memos. They can see things like their covenants and restrictions, their bylaws, articles of corporations, things that they pertain to their neighborhood, maybe get some ARC forms and so forth.
Okay.
They can also pay their assessments online as well. That seems to be the wave of being able to pay things online.
Yeah.
So
the hot new thing these days is to pay all your bills
it
and everything
is,
online.
it is. They can also post things like garage sales, yard sales, rentals that they have, or if they want to place their home for sale on that site, they can do that as well.
So Betty, I have a question. If I live in one of those associations, do I need a password? How do I access that website?
You would be given a login, and you could set your password up. It's very simple to do. So
Great.
Okay.
And I think that website is www.odrcam.com. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Excellent. One of the other things that I want to mention about the website is the public side of things. So even if you're not in one of these associations where Betty manages, you also have the public side of things where you've got Betty's contact information as well as some of the services that they offer. So is there anything else about that, Betty, that you want to touch on?
I think we're good there.
Cool.
So.
Good. All right, let's get started. What, Betty, is a community association?
A community association implements policies and gives direction to the POA. These are developments that record with the state, and they form a corporation, and they have to be filed with the SEC, which is the form of corporation you would file with. Otherwise, they're just restrictions, and sometimes the restrictions aren't implemented in the fact that no violations are sent and nobody's given.
I live in a subdivision, and we have restrictive covenants, but we don't have an association. So because you are governed by restrictive covenants doesn't necessarily mean you're an association, does it?
That's correct. Anybody can volunteer as long as you belong to that association to manage it. A lot of times it's much more in depth than the board wants to take on, or different homeowners would want to take on. The board likes to usually our board should hire somebody with credentials, at least a CMCA, a PCAM, something that gives
Somebody that
training.
knows what they're talking about,
yeah,
right?
training through the state that
Yeah.
they have the ability to manage a POA. And your manager should be licensed and insured. We actually have an on-staff CPA that reviews all of our financial documents, so people can feel more secure about their POA.
I know, Renee, you and I have talked about, since we've gotten
sure
to know
have.
exactly
Yeah.
what Betty does, that I can't imagine listing and selling during the week and then trying in the evening to property manage association.
Absolutely not. I mean, there's so much in depth to what Betty does that it just kind of makes my head spin when I think about all the different things that she does during a day to help with these associations that she manages.
Yes.
Now, Betty, tell us a little bit about what it is that you do for these associations. I know there's a laundry list of things that you like to take care of, and it just varies from day to day. But
Right. That
tell us
list
a
can
little
be checked out on our website if you want to see in depth. And there could be things that restrictions might require that we don't cover, but we'd be glad to cover. We do newsletters, announcements. We prepare annual reports, financials, budgets, collect assessments, follow up on delinquencies, and sometimes we have to place liens. We do bids for snow removal, landscaping, all kinds of repairs that might be in the common areas of your POA. We also review and pay invoices that might come in for these things that we've bidded out. Somebody's got to be paid.
Yeah.
We do reserve studies. We hold meetings, quorums, and determine quorums and give out proxies for those who cannot be at meetings. We do send violation letters. That's something that volunteers don't want to usually get involved with. So, and one of the most important things that we do as far as the management goes is the POA packet. I think folks don't understand how important it is to have that packet and its information. And as realtors, you know the importance of that packet. So.
I mean, I know with any sort of sale that we have, Pam, that's
Yes.
within any association that has the POA or the HOA, it's really important that the seller provide a copy of that to the buyer so that they know what they're getting into and what goes along with the association, what they can and cannot do as part of that. So I know it's really important. And Betty, you always prepare a complete and full package for the association.
Right. I like to give as much information as we can to help those homeowners move in and so forth and get settled in. They can order their packet via like a notebook, CD, or we can send it via email. So that would determine, but I think the notebook's the most popular. That way they can flip through and get the forms necessary to pull out pages that they need. So. Yeah, and packets need to be up to date too, so that's why it's important that you have a up to date packet when you sell your home.
Yeah,
too.
definitely. Yeah. Something else that I know that you do that I don't think we touched on here is the reserve studies that you guys are required to do. Yes,
reserve studies are important. It's a new law. I think in 2010 it was mandated by the state that you have a reserve study done every 5 years, and the importance of this study is to make sure that there are funds there to replace streets if necessary, signs, anything in common area that needs to be upkept. Sometimes there's a roof reserve. A lot of townhomes have roof reserves, so it's important to have that study done. That way there's a financial plan that you follow that makes sure you have the exact amount of funds each year put back. So, and there's other regulations that go along with it as to how you can invest those funds. For the benefit of the community too. So.
Using the roof as an example, the cost of replacing a roof today is probably a lot different than what a cost to replace a roof in 20 years when you have to replace it would be. So and that every 5 year thing is
that
really
study
important.
Projects what those funds are probably going to be. Now they're not going to be totally accurate, but it saves in doing special assessments.
Absolutely.
Most people don't.
Betty, I have a question, and I think most people would probably like to know. When you get a bid, do you get one bid for that work, or do you get more than that?
I usually get at least 3, and I try to get more because some folks don't turn those in. But yeah, we have to have at least 3 bids to feel like we're doing or benefiting the POA.
Makes sense.
And the board reviews those and approves. So
absolutely. You've brought up the word board of directors numerous times this evening. What exactly is the role of the board of directors for your association?
Board members are essentially, they're the leadership of the POA corporation. It's like the investors of a corporation. The association members appoint these board members, usually by a vote, and these board members are responsible for maximizing the return on the most important thing that most people own, and that's their home. The board acts as a mini government for you in your neighborhood, so it's a very important role.
Definitely. Now, I know throughout this entire broadcast, we've kind of used POA, HOA, community associations. Betty, is there any difference between these terminologies?
Nothing really. It's generally how they're recorded and what attorney has recorded them and how they were asked to record them. A POA, HOA, like you said, they're all the same. The only one that stands alone would be a MUD. That's a mixed unit development, and that usually entails commercial properties along with your home property and so forth. But yeah, that would be the difference in the acronyms used.
Yeah. And speaking of acronyms, we've got an acronym to throw at you too, is the ARC, and that's the Architectural Review Committee. And they play a pretty vital role. Tell us a little bit about how they
do. ARCs are great for the board of directors to implement and keep the standards of the neighborhood and help keep the integrity of the neighborhood and keep things sort of looking the same. That way, they have a panel that reviews everything. It's not just one person or two persons. It's usually a panel, and they report to the board. Sometimes the ARC is the board, so but it is important that they keep the integrity of the neighborhood.
That way you don't have the Technicolor dream houses across the neighborhood.
Right.
You've got everybody looking very, very similar in the neighborhood and kind of keeping that aesthetic pretty cohesive across the board.
Right. You don't want sunshine yellow and neon purple doors, so yeah.
Yeah. Now, Betty, if someone would want to contact you, let us know once again how we can go about doing that.
If they're interested in talking to us about managing their POA, please look at our website, www.odrcam.com, and let us know what your contact information is, and we'll return a call or via email and discuss terms that you would be interested in management.
I have a question about that, Betty. I don't know if you mentioned this earlier, but you manage various associations in our area,
yes.
Single family and townhomes. Do you manage outside, or would you take on a project outside of our area?
We would. We actually have several that we have in the area: Crossroads Farms, Preston Lake, Magnolia, and the one that we have out of the area is Emerald Bay at Smith Mountain Lake. We have many townhome POAs. We have Wellington, Blakely, the Orchards, Shady Creek, and we're getting ready to start a new Cedar Point POA. So more than glad to take on other POAs.
You're busy.
Yeah.
Now, is that just in Virginia, correct?
Just Virginia.
Okay.
We take on Virginia POAs. So.
Excellent. Well, it's so nice to have you here, Betty. It's always great to hear about all the other professionals in our line of work, Pam.
Yes.
It's not just about buying and selling, houses, with our first-time home buyers or our move-up buyers. There's all kinds of other facets to the real estate industry.
Yes.
Now, speaking of which, we are going to be joined next month, September the 11th, back here at 6:30. And we're going to have John Bowman speaking to us about commercial real estate. And we also have Jonah Pence with Farmers and Merchants, and he's going to be here talking about financing this commercial real estate.
Which is totally different, isn't it, from residential real estate?
It's a completely different animal. I mean, for sure. You're not dealing with the same contracts. You're not dealing with the same financing terms. So we're going to learn a lot more about, what kind of that entails.
Yes.
And that, again, that's going to be September the 11th. 6:30. Come to the same place at www.odrva.com. If you have any questions in the meantime, you can send those emailed in at mail@odrva.com. And Pam or Betty or I would love to hear from you, and I love to answer any questions that you might have. We thank you so much for coming and joining us this evening, and we look forward to seeing you again next month.
Thank you.